So close your eyes, for that's a lovely way to be. Aware of things your man alone was meant to be. The fundamental loneliness goes whenever two can dream a dream together. En tu vivir bastaría con abrazarte y conversar. Tanta vida yo te di que por fuerza llevas ya sabor a ti. No pretendes no ser tu dueña. No soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad de mi vida. Soy lo bueno.
I got through it all the way. Sorry. Darn. Let me play that again. I'm going to play it again.
Okay. Yeah, I did this too. For a cruise ship or something like that. Right? It's all right.
So close your eyes, for that's a lovely way to be. Aware of things your man alone was meant to be. The fundamental loneliness goes whenever two can dream a dream together. En tu vivir bastaría con abrazarte y conversar. Tanta vida yo te di que por fuerza llevas ya sabor a mí. No pretendo no ser tu dueña. No soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad de mi vida. Soy lo bueno. Y maltratarme, triste es vivir.
Okay.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it. We definitely did it. I'm just fixing one thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my lovely guest, Anita Robles.
Robles. Hi, Cathy.
Hello. Let's see, I'm
Thank you
just
for having
looking
me here.
for, I just got a new computer. I mean, literally, like yesterday. So
Oh,
I'm trying to find
well, it's, yeah.
where is everything? I do not know. Okay, let's see. Is that what I have? Oh my gosh. I got it together. Here we go. I got
All
it
right.
together. Now I see us. All right. It's not so terrible, but it's unusual.
I have to say, this has a challenging time for a lot of us. So it's either learn or, go to the
It's so
jungle and
true,
live.
isn't it? I know, isn't
Right.
that true? It's
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Either learn or die on the vine, basically,
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think that is being the challenge, and in a good way, if you want to stay in a positive note, um, the challenges are, the changes, which are inevitable. I mean, changes are going to happen, but the major change as a human race that we had faced with this is like, let's do some things online for good now and forever so we don't pollute the air, right?
I absolutely agree.
And
I'm
it's
sorry,
it's
I'm not
convenient. I
there.
think
Hold
it's
on.
pretty convenient, and it's just it's not the same, but we can't necessarily have to go places all the time. Like if people go work and do 3 times a week from home, that's 3 times that you're not driving. So, anyways,
Well, I agree with you. I mean, excuse me. I think that when you really look at when you're confronted with the new technology, things that you don't really understand from the past, yeah, there's this feeling. It's like, it's everything is a process. And so there's a feeling first that is kind of overwhelming,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Maybe not for young people. I don't really know, but it's as we grow older, it's like I've been doing this way for so long, and now all of a sudden I have to, not only do I have to do it a new way, but I have to learn about it too, And so, but the process is if you just continue through it and you just get interested in what you're doing and then it's actually okay. And we were talking before, about growing older, and as I said, if it wasn't if it wasn't for my body, I wouldn't even
it wasn't for my
mind
time.
about,
Yes, I
yeah, I
wouldn't
wouldn't
know
even think
how old
about
I
getting
am.
older. But my body is like, every morning I have to get up and stretch.
I
Otherwise,
know.
I'm walking crippled. And I'm really not that out of shape. Well, maybe I am out of shape. I don't know. But anyway.
You were always on shape. I mean, I always seen you like,
Well, I'm not really,
I mean, for
when you
45,
look at me, I
you
don't
look
look
great.
crappy. What'd you
45 or
say?
39, right? 39, it was
Oh,
forever.
yeah.
39 forever, yes.
Actually, it's my birthday on Friday.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And I don't mind saying I'm going to be 68, which is
Ooh.
number. I don't even, it sounds kind of, it sounds kind of, I like it. I don't know why, but I like
Okay.
68. Sounds good.
No, it's great. And I
Maybe
mean,
70
you look
won't sound so good.
fantastic. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. I am not going to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care. But anyway, when I'm 70, I might have some kind of head trip. Because when I turned 30, I had a head trip and I didn't think about it beforehand. It just happened. I
Uh-huh.
just, when I was 30 went click, and yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
that now your light looks a little different.
Oh,
You want to turn on that light that we were playing around
you
with
think I'm too
first?
dark?
Oh, now when you're
Well,
closer,
I guess when I get back, it's a little, yeah, I think it's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good.
Okay, cool.
So, Anita Robles. So,
Yes, I invited some people. Hopefully they come. If not, it's just wonderful to be here with you.
that's
I am
okay.
on the phone on the Facebook myself, and I don't know if I can do this, but I guess it's,
You can, as long as you turn the sound down.
yeah, the sound is off. Yes.
Yeah. So Roland is here, and Anthony Cucina.
Okay, cool. Cool,
There's
cool, cool.
there's probably more people, but they don't
I'm trying.
necessarily show up.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah. So let's start with now.
Mhm.
And what are you doing right now? Besides sitting here talking to me.
Right, right. Well, in the last pretty much 5 years, I kind of like started loving to play for a different audience, right? And so it was a combination of jobs and studying and taking care of my mom that had Alzheimer's. And so I started to just, investigate, research, and be the clown that I can be sometimes. And I was doing that and playing good music, and especially when you play for the elderly, what the best part is to play, jazz and old songs and show tunes and musicals and all of that. And because of my basic guitar playing, I was able to do it on my own. And so I didn't like the degree, but that was my intention when I went to uh, California State University to get a degree in music therapy. And it was so much music instead of what I was really doing, which is the interaction with, I will call it the mentally challenged audience. So that's what I'm doing. And because of that, and because of deciding to go for just the plain psychology degree, I work with kids in the spectrum, and because of that background, like ABA is a discipline that is a behavioral change for kids that are in the spectrum, and you can use it with boyfriends and everything. It works. You can use it with your husband if you want him to do something. I tell you, it's like how do you change behavior of people? But in this case, for the kids, that they have to learn to communicate, because that's being autistic. That's the biggest challenge, to be in society and to communicate. You need to change behavior. So all those techniques I learned. Then because of that, I got a job with an organization called Guitars in the Classroom. And Guitars in the Classroom works as a parallel music program in for LAUSD. And because of my background, I go to hospitals that have teachers there. So LAUSD is not only in schools, they provide education. By law, they have to provide education to children anywhere, wherever they are. And so that's what I'm doing now. Pretty much working for those, a little bit in hiatus because of or whatever that word is, because of the pandemic. But we were doing it on Zoom a little bit. And and I'm really passionate about it, So basically people hire me, and there's not too many people doing what I do. There is a couple of nonprofits, and Guitars in the Classroom is a nonprofit, and they're actually funded by the NAM organization, the NAM Foundation. The NAM show, I had no idea that they were so prolific in the sense of what they fund for education and music education.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm surprised too.
nationwide, like really big. Like they have a lot of funding, which I didn't know because, but there is grants always available that I was trying to get. I will not give up. I will keep trying, because some of the research is interesting in my case, because I took care of my mother. I was very curious about how music, vibration, and all the stuff that has to do with lyrics and rhythm and patterns and all of that, how that can retrain the brain to just reactivate memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I
Wow.
do now.
This is
I,
really,
I love it. It's different.
yeah.
It's not, looking for gigs and,
Yeah.
fighting to get a little recognition. I got a little burnout. And I have to say, I have so much admiration for you and people that keep doing the performing, which I keep doing too. But I mean, you travel and world known, and you've done so many things that it's hard work. And I guess I was just kind of tired of that.
I can dig it. By the way, speaking of vibration, there's something
Yes.
now I don't hear it.
You want me to turn
Your
it off?
your fan or something, or
Yeah.
can you turn it off? Will it
Can you
will
hear
it
it?
bug you?
Maybe I was trying to make it quieter. Sorry about that. It is a humming, talking about vibration. Sorry about that. There is a movie called The Sound of Silence. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, right? Like the guy hears everything. Oh my God.
Thank you. Roland says he loves your eyes. And he also said I looked great for being 68.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you shouldn't tell people.
Yeah, but see, then you get lots of compliments. Like, what?
I know.
I wouldn't look so good for 34, but 68, people are like, whoa, wow,
Well, you know what? It's like I go to a retirement home or a facility, and they look at me like I'm this young girl. I go perform for the millennials, like I was working at a treatment center for, addiction. And those millennials, God bless you guys if you're there. So they see me like Asian, like, can we hear some music from this decade or something? And, but it's good. I always have to keep researching in music from different periods, but I'd rather be with the older people. I'm very young for them.
I love hanging out, I love hanging out with older people. I always have. I mean, gosh, they've lived they've lived life, They know shit, and it's just
I know.
it's great.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've always felt like this, and you probably did the same thing, I bet. I would always like to older men, I would always just, be talking to them like they were a regular person. And they, when I was younger, especially, they would misunderstand,
Of course.
They thought, hey, this chick likes me, And it was just like, I just like you, That's all. I just like you,
Yeah. It's like, it's hard to be in their mind, but they certainly love the attention. That's for sure.
Yes. And why not?
Yeah.
I mean, we all want that. But I think what you're doing is fantastic. I think it's, when we become an artist, probably for some time it's, like an ego thing. We want the attention, we want the applause and all that. But also in there is the artist's desire to help and to heal. So what you're doing is it's perfect. I mean, it's wonderful. And the fact that you love it, it's really nice.
Yeah. Well, it's challenging. It's like, I don't know, even when I play gigs, somebody told me singing that style of bossa nova that I do, in a little gig or in a little restaurant.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine actually nodding out, like, it's so calming. This music is so, I was like, are you ignoring me? And I go, no, I'm just digging it. It's so nice and calming and relaxing. Oh, wow. And so maybe that's what, I don't know. That's why I'm here in this planet. But I just like it. And I take the challenge because it's always something new to learn. And
Yeah.
I think that I had some things with music. And I mean, at a point I wanted to go to Berkeley. When I met you many years ago, it's like, oh my God, I wish I could go to Berkeley and be such a great educator like you are, and people that that I know. I started playing in my hometown in Cordoba, Argentina, with a bass player. His name is Fernando Huergo, and he suggested it. You should go. You should go. I'm gonna try. He ended up getting a scholarship and moving to Boston. And he's been faculty there for
Oh,
20 years,
oh my God.
like the head of the bass department there.
Wow.
Yeah, and I tell you that for me that was so scary,
Yeah.
right? And I ask, and sometimes I have guests coming to my sessions when I do, and I ask someone that has a Berkeley degree to come into a facility where there's children that have brain injuries, right? And for me, it's just so normal, you're singing over like beep, beep, and then, sometimes, there is issues. So the nurses have to come and revive someone, right? And for me, that's kind of normal. And this guy is like, "What? How can you do this?" Well, I said, "How can you get a degree from Berkeley and study so much music?" So, everybody has a challenge. So, yeah.
Are you familiar with Jazz Camp West? Did you ever hear of that? Madeline Eastman used to teach there, and Stacy Hoffman is the executive director of the. There's a big, broader nonprofit called Living Jazz. It's in San Francisco, and then they do so many amazing things, great things, and they have. If you go on YouTube and look at some video, they have these musicians who are really great. Just great teachers with kids, teaching the kid, like a large group of kids, how to improvise and body percussion. And they have an event for Martin Luther King Day that it's incredible. It really, I'm in great admiration for that, and yeah, it's really it's an awesome nonprofit. It covers a lot of different things in San Francisco. Really cool. Living Jazz.
Cool.
Yeah.
Living Jazz. Okay.
Also, I have a friend in England who kind of sounds like she did what you did. She was a singer and a songwriter, and I can't remember the story, but she started going into hospitals and creating programs.
Right. Because it's not, like for me with my mom, I practice with her, and so I kind of have this stuff like bilingual, which is a good thing, and I am trying to develop that. But I came up with this idea, and I have the CD that is kind of meditation music, and it's called the ABCs of Healing.
I'm going to play a little of that too.
Okay. I included a song at the end. I don't know if you checked the meditation with Mitch.
Yeah, I want to play a little of that.
Yeah.
Let's play a little of it right now, actually. So,
Okay.
because since we're talking about it, it's lovely. Oh, that's beautiful.
I know, huh?
Was that whole song meditation actually?
Well, it was inspired by meditation.
Okay.
So, but it went somewhere else. And Dory Amarillo, as we know, is this amazing local producer, guitar player here in LA. And it's just like he came up with the idea. Mitch Forman came and wanted to play piano. And so we did a couple of songs, but actually this one, I said, let's try to make it meditative, more longer. So, the songs that are more, there is not 3 minutes or 4 minutes, but it's longer. So he decided to, Mitch decided to start playing the strings inside of the piano. And so that's what is like.
Yeah, yeah.
And we actually, some of these songs, I put it in this compilation and in this CD because they're almost unfinished projects that you could have used another arrangement or maybe another type of editing, whatever. But Dory did pretty good, and we know Mitch, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. And just aside from the music, the photo on that album is really beautiful. It's very natural, very welcoming, warm, and so I have to say that I really liked that.
Thank you. And that
Also,
is in this CD, by the way. This picture is really nice too. I don't know if you
the
have.
ABC, the
Yeah,
ABC of
yeah,
healing.
the ABCs of healing.
Yeah.
That song is there. So there's three songs: awareness, balance, and change. So the ABCs, and then there is that song, meditating with Mitch, because
Cool.
Mitch plays at a spiritual center,
Yes.
and
For
so
Michael Beckwith.
he does serious music for meditation there, like 15, 20 minutes before, not every
Yeah.
Sunday, but before the service or
And he's
whatever.
been doing it a long time too. Long time.
Yeah,
Years and
he has
years.
studied that stuff too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the title of the "Good News on Rainy Days," how did you come up with that title?
It's because we got together with Ramon Estañaro, which is this amazing guitar player from Peru that is played with everybody. He's producer, I mean, amazing, and done so much in the Latin world too, and played with so many people. And we were talking about this Christian church or whatever, and I said, I have a Christmas song. Let's record it, and we did it at his place, and I call it the Good News, because the good news was, um, I guess, for the world those days. The Savior was coming, whatever. And
Uh-huh.
we're going to have to buy presents for Christmas from now on for the rest of our history. And whatever it was a Christmas song, and it was very, emotional and nice. And he said, let's do it. And then I saw my friend Paul Williams, the writer of Rainy Days, and we recorded that song again. I saw him at the ASCAP Expo, which I remember because my first record was all original music in English and Spanish. And then I had a publishing deal in Spanish with songs in Spanish, and that I never really perform, or more like a writer. And I just they never really liked singing in Spanish, which everybody's, oh, you could have done so well, but it is. I had to honor so Paul, I always love him, and there's a story behind this, but it will take too long to say it. But so I always like the Rainy Days.
We have several hours
Oh well,
if you want to tell the story.
I beg my mother. This is many years ago. I begged my mother to take me to see this guy, and so Paul Williams did a concert in Cordoba, in my town. I don't know, 80, 78, 79, 80, who knows when. And I remember that I was, either I was in an elementary school, and I was already listening to English songs, and my brother was a Beatle fan. So we were listening, and some of the, I took the time to look at what things meant. Most of the times I would just you want to che, che, che. We didn't know what the, and so whatever, I knew what these songs were. And then I saw, I think I saw The Stars Born with Barbara Streisand or something like that. And I was starting to sing. And the more I wanted to sing, the more my mother said, you got to be a lawyer or a doctor, to honor the family, whatever. And so I said, well, you got to, this guy has a song called Evergreen and the song Rainy Days and Mondays, and I want to go see him. And so it was incredible that he did actually, I bought the record and he signed a record. And it was crazy because he says, do you think I remember anything about the whole country? I was like so drunk or whatever. And, God bless his heart, so prolific and such a wonderful soul, and has done so much for songwriters, being the president of ASCAP. And he turned 80 last year. So that's talking about age. But so I said, I got to record one of your songs. But you know me, I'm going to change it to Latin. It's going to be either Brazilian or Latin. So I changed it. And then Ramon, we decided to record those two songs. And so that this CD here is those two songs, and then some old songs that maybe unfinished, and songs from the meditation CD too. So I mixed everything up in this one.
That's cool. That's a cool way to get the title.
So that's, good news on rainy days, because on rainy days we're like, so you have some good news.
Cool. And I was curious while I was listening to that song, how did you put that together? Did you have Mitch do all the piano playing first, or did you both do it together, or how did that? Because it's quite beautiful how you sang, where you sang, and where you harmonized, where you didn't,
Yeah.
Do you remember the process?
I'm trying to remember. Dory, and we edited, it was longer.
Sure.
Yeah, it was longer. And so I think I did a version. I think Mitch recorded first.
Yeah.
And then I came after and put the vocals, and I did a longer version, and I go on. And Dory's like, yeah, go. And, I'm like, yes, breathing, meditating. But I always with that song in my head, right?
Yeah.
Talking about meditation, I don't know if Tom Jobim really meant to say meditating. I think it's a love song, right? But if you live in Rio for a while, which I did, and you're chilling on the beach, you're meditating. It's just like, it's so beautiful. So meditating, how sweet life will be when you come back to me. And I think, Mitch recorded first, and then he recorded that kind of like a track first, and I put the vocals after, and then he came and put that solo part after, and then I went back and did the harmonies, and we edited a little. Yeah.
Really pretty.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, okay. So jumping to your childhood. So, I guess there was a point where you said, no, I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to be a singer and a songwriter. Was that what happened?
Yeah. But I went to 3 years of law school, actually.
Oh.
And I just felt like, I cannot do this. This is horrible. The opposite of what I am, like it's so yeah. But it was interesting. I enjoyed it. My town has a university that is so prestigious, and it was founded way before we had our independence. It was like founded in the 1700s or something like that, and it was, or maybe before. And so it did especially the law school and medicine. Medicine was also very prestigious. Buenos Aires has some amazing universities, like Che Guevara, the famous Che Guevara that was born in Buenos Aires. He studied it in some of these schools. I think he was a doctor, I'm not sure. But there are some personalities in the world that just went specifically to study there. And so it was good to be in that school, you know, and walk around. And then of course I was just like I did recently when I got a degree. I'm always taking a music elective, a dance elective, you know, on the side. And I was taking literature and Spanish heritage, which is, you know, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and then eventually I had to tell my parents, I'm not going there anymore. And I went to, you know, I went to a music school that was very, it was basic to just to get a degree to teach kindergarten, to teach music in kindergarten. And I started doing that. And so, yeah. And then one of my best friends started writing jingles, and I was doing jingles and singing and recording. I was in the studios. And that guy decided to go to Berkeley. He got a scholar, another. It was one of the groups, you know. And I tell you, my country had such a great jazz influence that, as you know, some of the players, and because we're close to Brazil, we would get a lot of that influence too, that amazing music. So yeah, we had a band, and you know, we were doing commercials on the side to make money, and then playing jazz and playing little cafes. And then he decided to go to Berkeley. A few of the people that I went to Berkeley to visit, and I'm like, this is too hard and too freaking cold. I can't take the snow or anything like that. I'm out of here. And so I guess I was too lazy to study or whatever. The scholarship too, I don't know. So that was it. Yeah.
So after that, did you move to LA first?
Yeah. I moved to LA, and I started working right away with this. Well, what happened was one of his friends graduated from Berkeley and escaped the cold and moved here and got a deal doing music in Spanish, you know, for telenovelas and some things like that and commercials. And so I said, I wanna get out of here. You know, growing in Latin countries and the differences that the American government might have is like, it's nothing compared to what I grew up with. You know, our countries, not only Argentina, but I mean, Venezuela, you know, we grew up in turmoil at the government always. I grew up, you know, the 70s were that dictatorship where there was a curfew and you couldn't be outside for like a year, a night. And musicians, writers, they all left. And I kept, you know, people keep leaving still. Finances are always unstable, and so so I said I'm coming to LA, and I wanted to experience that, and I always dreamed to come here. So I came, and I had work right away with him. Yeah.
Cool. And you met Dory early, I think, right?
Yes, and briefly after I moved here, I met Dory, and we had a Brazilian jazz gig at a restaurant or something, and we have kept working after all these years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You were, oh gosh. And weren't you married to like Larry Williams or something?
Correct. Yes. It was a secret wedding until it wasn't anymore.
It was secret? Is that what you said?
It was, yeah. It was a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that was going on, and I was gonna go get deported, maybe. I don't know. I maybe needed health insurance or something. And then we, you know, we really love each other, and I learned so much with him, and it is an honor to be part of his family still, and his kids, and you know, we were together like 7 years, six,
Oh,
7 years.
yeah.
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 But married officially, you know, but none of us believed in the white dress and none of that. So anyways, it was just, you know, but it was an experience. And we did that first record of mine with him at his
Right. I saw
studio.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you, was that when, that was after he was basically working a lot with Seawind, right?
Oh, many years after. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, after Seawind, it became a period where they worked so much because Quincy discovered the horn
Yeah.
section, especially in
Uh-huh.
Jarreau and all that amazing, you know, pack of of horn players, and they with Quincy they were hired, and then Larry, because he was also a keyboard player and an arranger, he got the chance to work with Michael and a bunch of other big people. But that was very crazy according to him, because it was 18 hours in the studio doing so much music that he kind of like lost it a little bit. And anyway, some other personal stuff, but that's amazing though. And I
Yeah.
was able to just grasp how amazing Quincy was, and
Yeah.
be in some of those rehearsals. Then we were together also when Larry got the gig with Whitney Houston,
Oh.
and I was lucky to meet her, and it was a little bit towards the end. It was kind of sad, but it was great.
Yeah.
They did a couple of tours. I went on a tour to Europe, and it was
Oh.
fantastic show. She performed for the Prince of Monaco in this awesome casino, and
Oh.
yeah, wonderful music. And so Larry is this multi-talented, and so this is a guy that is watching football, because that's. I used to go to church, and he's like, I go to the church of the NFL, and and on a Sunday, don't bother him, especially if Kansas is playing or whatever, and he will be maybe taking breaks and writing music, and writing writing vertically, like writing arrangements, right, in all the different keys. And I'm like, and he's hearing the stuff in his head, and he's playing a little bit and watching the game, and I'm like,
One of those
it was
guys.
awesome.
Yeah,
I learned
yeah.
a lot. Yeah,
Genius guys.
yeah.
Yeah, when I came to LA, after just a little bit of time, I started working at Dante's, which was the jazz club, the main jazz club, and which was very close to the Baked Potato. So afterwards, after my gig, I would go over to the Baked Potato, and that's right when Seawind had come over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Pauline, and the band, and they really, at that moment in time, they reminded me of Weather Report. But then the producer, the drummer, I think it was Harvey Mason, he took them and he kind of commercialized them for their first record, which was, I was disappointed, because live they were much more incredible, and I mean, it didn't make them not incredible, but I was just disappointed in that first record, because live it was so outstanding. I still pretty much remember being there, yeah. So,
Well, they lived together, in Maui, and
yeah.
the years, so they would play every night, and that's when you get good at something.
Oh,
I tell my students, I don't know, whatever you want to do, even if you think you're not that good, or whatever you feel, whatever, just do it. I'm a Nike kind of person. Go and do it, because yeah, that's how you get good at something, by doing it. That's what I believe, right?
yeah. I would actually like to play from Latina Suave, because I really love that record. I'm not sure whether to play Agua de Marzo or Fragilidad, because I love that too.
I think you should play Fragilidad.
Okay.
Fragilidad, yes.
I'm going to open it up and
Mañana ya la sangre no estará. Al caer la lluvia se la llevará. Acero y piel, combinación tan cruel, pero algo en nuestras mentes quedará. Un acto así terminará, con una vida y nada más, nada nada se logra con violencia ni se logrará. Aquellos que han nacido en un mundo así no olviden su fragilidad. Lloras tú y lloro yo, y el cielo también, y el cielo también. Lloras tú y lloro yo, qué fragilidad, qué fragilidad. Un acto así terminará con una vida y nada más. Nada se logra con violencia ni se logrará. Aquellos que han nacido en un mundo así no olviden su fragilidad. Lloras tú y lloro yo, y el cielo también, y el cielo también. Lloras tú y lloro yo, qué fragilidad, qué fragilidad. Lloras tú y lloro yo, y el cielo también, y el cielo también. Lloras tú y lloro yo, qué fragilidad, qué fragilidad, qué fragilidad, qué fragilidad.
Qué fragilidad. Beautiful.
Yeah, sting. Yeah.
Really pretty. Yeah. I love this record.
Thank you. Thank you. It was Argentinians, you know, really great music, really great musicians. And the producer, uh, amazing piano player, Hermann Nacher is German Nager, whatever. Hermann Nacher, a teacher from one of the most prestigious jazz schools in my town. He produced it. And then that same guy, guitar player, his name is Jorge Nazar or George Nasser, whatever you want to call it. He was living here in LA for a good 10 years. After he graduated from Berkeley, he decided to move back to Argentina. Yeah. And he did what some people think I should have done, because he moved back to take care of his mom and some family issues. And, you know, some people return.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like doing it. I spent a lot of money traveling. And I went to take care of my mom and came back.
To go back many times, actually.
Yeah, sometimes twice, 3 times a year, and stay there for 2 months. And it was really, really hard. But, you know, I don't regret it. I didn't have kids on my own. So she was like my mom at the end. So Jorge is that guitar playing that you hear.
Yeah.
And just an amazing musician, producer, and one of these people that can switch to very pop. And then from living here, he got a great record deal in Mexico. So he was living in Mexico City for another 10 years before he returned to Argentina. But when he returned, that's when I got him to do this record. And he was nearly back there. And I was, and Herman was starting a new studio. And he says, why don't we just give it a try to the new studio and do a record? And I said, okay, you know. So I would be there a month at a time. Sometimes I wasn't a whole month, and we recorded this. And I had a husband in Argentina. He's the drummer
Oh,
before I moved here. So he is the drummer, which is an amazing drummer too. World travel. I mean, these guys are, yeah, very good music down there.
yeah, yeah. Um, I think my friend, piano player Cho or Yun Sung Cho, grew up there, I think, with his dad, and he's Korean, but I'm pretty sure he spent like many years there in his growing years in Argentina, and so he's actually he has that flavor in his playing as well, which is really great. Did you ever meet him? He was kind of a
No,
whale guy. Yeah, really
from
good player. Well, he's Korean, but I'm pretty sure he grew up in Argentina.
okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I recorded a record with him called Bohemian.
Oh,
I'll send it to you,
yes,
just so you can hear, you can
yes.
hear he's playing. It's really fun. Bohemian 2.
It's, I think it is the that thing I said before about the great schools
Yeah,
and having the influence from Europe and
yeah,
England, even in other genres like rock and roll. We had rock in Espanol
yeah,
way before Mexico did.
yeah.
Almost at the same time. I mean, the 70s and the 80s, and it was always that little bit of jazz, a little bit of fusion in all the music. So
Yeah, it always struck me. Well, Joey Heredia is my brother-in-law from my first marriage, right?
I had no idea.
Yeah, so his mother she was a very famous bolero singer from Mexico. Her name was Adelina Garcia, and she was thought of as the angel of Mexico, and she toured a lot with a famous Mexican composer named Gonzalo Curiel. And she was always telling me about Argentina and Mexico. I guess there was this kind of a warring
Mm,
faction. But yeah, it always seemed, yeah, it was my impression. It's funny when you get impressions of places when you're not really there and you don't live there and you're not, friendly with a lot of people from there. But I had this, Argentina seemed, just from what I knew, seemed sophisticated, where Mexico didn't seem sophisticated, but beautiful, but ethnic and, really passionate and wonderful, solid, But the Argentina always seemed a little more sophisticated, I guess because of the European influence as
right.
well
Yeah.
and the marriage of that.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I think I have a quarter from my place, but basically I'm from England and my descendants are immigrants. We're all immigrants, and so yeah, it's a history of a lot of European music, and then being closer to Brazil. Let's not forget that
Uh,
that's a big thing.
Huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we had some music, and that little tiny country in the middle between Argentina and Brazil, Uruguay, right?
Yeah.
Uruguay has, and it's funny because Argentina had some, like we were talking about, some political crazy moments. And you complain about racism here. You have no idea. And so,
Really?
right. So when I think maybe from the 1800s on, most of the dark skinned African descendants were either killed or sent to Uruguay,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, yeah, and they were all coming down from Brazil. Brazil had a lot of slavery, 1600s, all that, and it was different than here because they didn't separate the families. They all kept the rhythm. Actually, the north of Brazil, it has, just like the Caribbean, it has a lot of African influence because they weren't separated,
Huh.
and so, which I'm grateful for because blues and all of that came out of the American, African American, expression of wanting to be free and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Brazil, it was different. I think, I don't know, Brazilians might tell you better, but and so those African Americans migrated to my country, and they were slaves there too, but um, then they just didn't survive. There was other governments that weren't tolerating at all what was happening. So they moved to Uruguay, and they stay a lot in Uruguay. So Uruguay has a lot of Africans descendants, and then yeah, and they had to go back to Brazil or whatever, because my country was like, I mean, I didn't see a black person until I was like 15, that they had a
Wow.
basketball tournament and there's some American teams game.
Huh.
Yeah. Now there's many more, but I mean, in the
Sure.
70s, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was a tough moment in
There,
history.
there's
Yeah.
so, yeah, I just keep learning about more and more of that kind of situation. I interviewed, oh, I forget how to say her name. She's a violinist from Cuba. Fantastic. And Dyron Santamaria, I think that's her name. And she was telling me, I mean, what can I say? I was ignorant about Cuba because I just never learned about it and I never really talked to anybody about it. And it's, I used to feel somewhat guilty about being white, just because of the history. But
Mhm.
actually, I just think humankind, man, has some real serious problems. It's not just white people. It's people, and I kind of have this underlying wish that there would be these different planets, and all those kind of people can go live on their own planet, and just leave us who like mixing and matching, leave us on a planet. What's the big deal?
Who's gonna play sports, play jazz, take care of the children, do the
Yeah.
gardening? They're gonna need other people.
It's so weird. But so you told me something new too. I hadn't realized that. And I mean, I knew about Brazil and I knew kind of about Argentina, but I didn't know that about Uruguay. And interesting.
So Uruguay has some amazing rhythms that are typical from that place.
Oh,
Very unique. Yeah.
huh.
They combine a little bit, the Argentine, Argentinian says that it's like Chile, you're like such a skinny little country. You're part of us. Argentina, they always say, yeah, Chile and Uruguay are Argentinian, are part of Argentina, and they get so offended, of course. The biggest, Argentinians and Uruguayans and Brazilians can be very friendly, except when they're playing soccer against each other. And Uruguay had one of the best soccer teams, of the world. And so, yeah, it's a very, very unique little country there. They speak Spanish, but they have a lot of Brazilian influence. So yeah, so I think that's why the music, and now it's a little different, but we had a lot of jazz in the radio and everything in the 80s. And we had, it was a common thing, like to go see, well, especially the Brazilians, because they were close, like Hermeto Pascual and, Elis. I don't know if Elis Regina came, but I went to see Hermeto. I went to see Gal Costa. It was like the singers were very often coming, like every summer or every winter, let's say, or whatever. When it was too hot in Brazil, they will come and tour and do shows and be performing in theaters for months at the time. So we got,
Wow.
yeah, I learned listening and watching these people. Yeah, they were, because, it was not just a little club, they will fill up theaters. So that was how cultural my country is, how open, at least then, how open they were to, cultural stuff. I mean, same with classical music. Buenos Aires has a building, a store that is a bookstore, that is the biggest bookstore in the world, that it never closes. It's open 24/7. And it's always full of people. And it has 10 floors.
Oh my God.
I know. So Buenos Aires has that amazing feeling that is the city that is always searching for more culture, more richness of thought, and is open night and day. Musicals, I mean, is yeah, yeah, it still is. It's not so much like it used to, but it's still very
Yeah, I know. The gentrification has affected everywhere in the world.
correct. Yeah.
Nora Paradiso says hello. She thinks
Oh, we love Nora.
you're
Hi,
divine.
Nora. Yay.
And Michael Barsamanto is here, and he
Oh my God.
loved that cut. And Nancy Sanchez, who's a great singer and guitar.
Yes. Yeah. Cool.
Nancy, I've said this before. I want to have you on the show. It's fun. I love her. Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's hear another one. I have a few things that I opened up. Let me look here. You have some beautiful pictures of yourself.
I know. Lucky to. Yes. Good photographers, I guess.
I
Oh,
like
Miami Times. Oh, so fun. Oh, fun.
that was the end, right? Man, you were hot.
I want to have that hair again.
I know. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Those are the days.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
very hot.
Yeah, it was awesome. And like I always say, I had the opportunity to play every night and just keep working on repertoire and trying things. And that's what a blessing is, to keep performing,
Yeah, yeah.
keep playing. And so I had the chance to do that at this beautiful hotel. It was, Gloria and Emilio's hotel.
Oh,
Yeah, the Cardoso Hotel in Miami Beach, South Beach, which is the hippest part of Miami Beach.
yeah.
Very European, very, and so, yeah, I got to play there for almost 2 years before
Oh my gosh.
the hurricanes came and destroyed the place.
Oh,
So yeah, that's when I said, I'm gonna take the earthquake land again instead of.
so when was that? That was before LA or during
No,
LA?
that was in the middle. See, there's like a funny story. So we got a split with Larry, and I just felt like I want a new thing. And I went to the NAMM show, and I met this guitar player of meditation music and kind of lounge meditation music. And he says, I have a thing in Miami that I do every year, which is I go to Key Largo and I perform for the dolphins. Right? And my hippie self said, really? Where is this? And he's like, he's in Key West, which is the southest point in the US, the little island.
Yeah.
in Key West. And so we go in a yacht, and small kind of yacht, and we have a sound system for underwater. And he is this left-handed, guitar, and Taylor makes the guitars just for him. His name is Scott Hackbay. And when the movement, of New Age music came about, he was, one of the guitar players for meditation music, along Stephen Halpern and all those people that came out with that vibe. Also, I guess in 80s, 90s. But anyways, this guy said, why don't you come? We will help you with a hotel night and get out of the freeways of LA for a minute. And I'm like, it was paradise. I said, why am I in LA? So I decided to move, and I moved, and I was able to get that job at the hotel for the weekends. I was playing there Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and some Sundays.
Oh,
For a good year and a half.
yeah.
So that gave me a lot of practice and exercise. And then I was recording during the week. Couldn't do too much work with Gloria and Emilio because they had so small little circuit of producers that had their own singers and everything. And so yeah. But it was wonderful to work for them. I mean, they are very, very strong in South Florida, musically. Gloria and Emilio were always very strong there. And I was recording with other people. I was doing some other lounge music. The club scene of South Beach was so crazy. I used to perform from 8 till midnight. And then from midnight, that's the time that the clubs open in Miami Beach, right? So you go there and, you better go clubbing in Miami Beach with your sunglasses, right? Because it's going to get daytime when you get out of there. But all the famous DJs that will perform in Vegas, New York,
Uh-huh.
in what's the place in the Mediterranean? Anyways, Mallorca, all of those places.
Uh-huh.
The big hip club DJ scene.
Yeah.
I ended up after my show, for the older crowd. I will go and hear some, and there were some great percussionists playing along with these DJs. And that was my workout. I didn't go to the gym. I was like dancing and burning calories there. And so I met a few producers, and I did a couple of songs, a couple of projects with these DJs. And the one chord thing will kill me. Like, okay, are we changing this chord at all, or it's just like 30 minutes? It was like, I can't do this. Can we change it? But there was a good scene, and I had fun. Really, it's just so beautiful there.
Yeah.
So I digged it. But when the hurricanes came, I think it was Katrina, was the first one that, it's like 2 or 3 weeks that you have a storm and you don't know what it's going to do. So the storm is in the coast, right? And it ended going to the Gulf, into New Orleans. But then several other hurricanes came and hit Miami. And, I was living 2 blocks from the ocean, living so close to the water, it was always a threat. The first one is like, I tied up your furniture and you tape your windows and everything. And I'm like, by the 4th one, I'm like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard. Yeah. So, but it was a wonderful experience, especially performing every night. And I did some good performances in other places, and I was selected to represent Argentina as a songwriter and performer in Puerto Rico. I met and I was able to understand the whole salsa thing. I was the backup singer for this crazy Peruvian wonderful singer, Cecilia Noel, right? And we all know, and lives here in LA. I was her backup singing, and I was like, what do you like about salsa, man? I like bossa nova. I like the Brazilian, and I like all those chords, this salsa thing, this. And when I was in a real Cuban jam session in Miami and knowing Puerto Ricans, and it's amazing. I mean, rhythmically, of course, but also what happens in Cuba, they don't have nothing else but studying. So it's like Russians, of course. But Fidel Castro says, like, no TV, nothing, not even toilet paper, nothing. Cuba is poor, but you have time to study. And here's the piano. The famous story of Arturo Sandoval, when he was able finally to leave Cuba, he was such a master because he has studied and copied and learn every single Dizzy Gillespie solo because they don't have nothing else to do. And when I met that, I know the salsa and the whole Afro-Cuban thing, it is so amazing. And I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't living right there, so close.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe, the East Coast,
Yeah.
as far as Latin music. We have more Mexican influence here. So
Yeah. 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 Wow. That's pretty cool. So you mentioned that you got kind of tired of looking for gigs and that whole lifestyle here. So I mean, I think we've all at some point, well, maybe not all of us, but I think a big portion of us have come to a point when you've been doing it a long time and it's been not the level of Jacob Collier or somebody like that, when the regular working musician, where you just get tired and you're like, do I really want to continue doing this all my life? Some people, as they grow, they're doing other things like a lawyer or, I mean, some people just have another thing that interests them or they like it enough to do it as a way to make money, right? So were you just like, oh, gosh, well, can you tell me a little bit about that period of time?
Well, it started actually in Miami when the hurricanes, what happens is all the buildings on the beach get destroyed, basically. The window, everything. So the hotel got destroyed and they go into this period of reconstruction where nobody has work, right?
Right.
And so I was called by a friend of mine that was the director of a mental institution. Says, hey, you want to come and play here? That was the first time I did that job. It was very scary to me at the beginning, but I felt, after a little while, I felt the soul of these people. It really captivated me. And, it's just that, when the mind is blocked by some issue, you go soul to soul. You're not thinking, right? So I really liked it. And I had that gig twice a week playing at this place. And then because I had my Argentinian little, and I actually, my schooling started here. When I was still with Larry, I went to Valley College and got a degree as a kindergarten teacher to work with kids. And and I've done that on and off too as a side job, working with kids, especially, with some music and creative activities, whatever. And so then because of that little degree and my degree from home, being a music teacher for kindergarten, I was hired at Miami City to do recreational after school, summer camp, music summer camps. And so I stay in Miami another year, almost a year and a half, but not working in music. And then I decided to move back here because I wanted to finish school and I just didn't want to live in a place where you have to stop your life. I mean, there was places that didn't have electricity in the inland of Miami, inland when the neighborhoods, like the Haitian neighborhoods or some other neighborhoods. Of course, South Beach and the beach had everything, done back. But, I mean, you literally see, cars floating in the street and things flying around. I'm like, what? So all of that gets messed up. Everything is closed. And I said, I got to get out of here. So I moved back. So I lived in Miami from 2003 to 2006. 2000, no, from 2002 till 2006. And by 2007, I'm back in school and wanting to get an associate's degree in music, at least, which I am short 3 classes, because I kept working with kids and kept, my mother thing happened. And so I had to kind of like, slow down in the schooling. And, at the same time, I'm recording, I'm doing songs for, other, I had, a spiritual recovery 12-step project as well. And all of those things, I'm doing that at the same time that I'm, coming and going from my country. And then, just I said, I'm going to just switch and get a degree in psychology. So I got the psychology courses I needed at Valley College and transferred to CSUN.
Oh, okay.
And it took me a long time to get the bachelor's. And now I'm thinking about the master's and it's like, what a headache. But especially psychology, there is so much research, so much statistics and things like that. And what I wanted to do is at CSUN is to transfer to the music therapy department and do both. But Cal State Northridge doesn't allow you to have 2 majors. So I had to choose psychology. And then when I wanted to transfer to music therapy, they have a clinic there. So there is a few music therapy schools, which they started about 10, 15 years ago, including Berkeley, of course. So that's what I wanted. I still do. I want to get the degree of music therapy, but it's really one of those things that might not have much to do with what I love to do. It's a lot of studying about other things. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I might still pursue that.
Yeah. That's a lot of work. So switching gears here, what music, I mean, you've already said what you loved to listen to, but who was a few of your favorite singers as you were coming up that you just were like, okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So while I was telling my parents I was going to law school, I went to, I had met this singing teacher that, funny enough, she became a music therapist later in life, and a Reiki master and a healer.
Oh.
But when she was like after 70, and now she's, but we keep in touch and everything. But and we she had a collection of music, and Febe Fuentes, I love you so much. So one of the first records we listened was Bill Evans, right? And so we put out the wine, of course, 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning, and we're listening to American jazz like we are right there at the Blue Note in New York. And I'm like, 17, 18 years old. And I'm like, I have arrived. I really thought that was the most highest expression of freedom for a human soul.
Yeah.
It's the improvisation and so I said, well, that's what it is. And then Sarah Vaughan was even before Ella Fitzgerald was who inspired me a lot. That was the other record we will listen, and so, and I was at that time also I had issues with the family, right? So, okay, so you're quitting law school. What are you going to do with the music? I said, I'm going to go to study opera. So, because I really like classical music, and I studied that. See, when I was little, I took piano classes with this classical pianist. That was, I was 10 or 11, whatever, earlier even, right? And I never liked the piano.
Uh-huh.
The teeth people, I call it the pianists, we call it the teeth people because the keys look like teeth. It's like, how do you? In Argentina, we have like, yeah, the dientudos, you know, we call it the dientudos, the diente people. They play that thing. I never liked it. So I said, Mom, buy me a guitar. And I took a few classes of guitar. Too boring to learn this. I'm just going to play by ear. And I started playing. And she's like, no, no, you're going to have to hear. You're going to have to learn some classical music too. And I loved it. I loved classical music so much. Especially, of course, the French ones, you know, the ones that started playing jazz.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
from Gabriel Fauré to Debussy to Ravel, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
Ravel was to me the first jazz piano player, right? And all of this without having too much musical comprehension.
Uh-huh.
It's just my ears were like, wow, I love this. So I figured if I tell my parents I studied opera, so I got actually a great training of classical music and operatic singing by a teacher that was kind of prestigious in my theater. And I even joined the opera choir of the main theater of my town. Yeah. So it was great, especially, you know, not the all I love all opera actually. I
Yeah.
really do enjoy, you know, when you're alone in your car and sometimes the jazz station has, you know, the same person or the same solo going on for 10 minutes. I switch to the classical and it's just more, a little more pleasant maybe.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for that upbringing
Mm.
with, because the classical training for singing and singing opera is definitely a tool you want to have. Like later on when I became a smoker and all, you know, I
Yeah.
had some tools, you know, to breathe and sing and hold the note that I don't know how I did it, but anyways,
Yeah.
so it was classical music at the beginning. It was and then, you know, sarvong, and you know, and at a time when I'm already singing, I have the band, you know, we have the band, the hip jazz players that I was mentioning that are these friends that immigrated eventually. I started listening and learning Ella Fitzgerald solos by heart. You know,
Yeah.
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 So that was my model.
If you were to tell some young singers coming up, you know, some kind of suggestion as far as how to go about developing, what would you say?
You know, I have a few students. I love teaching, but what happens is that I tell them that they have to go ahead and do it. So I either bring them to karaoke
Uh-huh.
and or I just tell them to, it's not too much exercises with me or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you are a fantastic teacher, by the way. I enjoy taking a few of your classes, especially the scatting is like a joy.
Thanks.
I wish I could do more, but you know, every level of singer from the top up to the, you know, the beginner is mostly what I get. And the beginner is someone that needs to start doing it and listening to the hearing, the sound of their own voice.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Explore the sound of your own voice. Find some songs that you love because you feel them in your heart
Mm.
and see how you can express those songs with your voice. If you don't like it, then pick other songs.
Yeah.
Figure it out how your voice is going to communicate to an audience
Mm-hmm.
the best that you can give in expression. Because to me, music is expression. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can, you know, play all the scales and know a lot of, you know, tricks. And of course, we need that as well. And I have lost so many opportunities and work because of not being a perfect side reader. And so I recommend that to people. But if you read perfectly and still don't tell me anything while you're singing, if I don't feel anything while you're singing, then I don't care if you sing the perfect note. So,
Who do you have a few favorite singers now or in town or even out of town?
you know, uh, well, not really. I am more into the healing thing. And you know, there's another organization that I wanted to bring up before we finish, and It's called MMM, Music Men's Minds.
Mm.
And they have some music therapists working because these are musicians. This is not just regular mentally ill challenged people. These are musicians that suffer from Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or dementia, all these
Yeah.
things. And the music therapists that work there have some tricks about making these people continue performing without the shakes, without, you know, being able to talk or sing or do things. So, that's what inspires me. Inspires
Yeah.
me the work that some of these, uh, people and researchers do with music to change people's lives.
Yeah.
The people, the founders of this foundation called Guitars in the Classroom, the lady that moved to San Diego, and her name is Jessica Barron, and she created all these programs. She wrote books about how you make an autistic children communicate and sing and play percussion and play ukulele. I don't know. That's what inspires me.
Yeah.
Um, from the new generation of singers, I have to say, because of her musicality, I love Esperanza Spalding. I love, what's the other one? I don't know. There's a few ones that I check when it's Grammy time. Yeah.
Um,
Otherwise,
have you heard of this? I think it's relatively new in autism. It's a way of, um, well, it's a teaching, but it's a teaching in order to connect with the person. It's mathematical. Let's
yeah.
see,
Uh-huh.
spelling out the letters, like there's something mathematical and letters. So they actually have a way of learning to spell out what they're thinking. And I've seen some videos. It's unbelievable because like a person living with their autistic child for 30 years, thinking that they didn't understand anything and finding out that they're a genius, and that they can communicate.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that particular program, but I tell you that there is so much research on it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'll,
so
I'll have to send that to you. I'll find that link. It's
yeah,
pretty
I mean, it
fascinating.
requires it requires a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do, and also none of these researchers and amazing people that have this discoveries and all this that is still new kind of
Yeah.
have a music career.
Right.
They have done 100% of their research as a
Yeah.
music therapist. So even though I love that and it's what kind of feeds me now, I still want to perform, and
Yeah.
I still go to the baked potato and listen to the music, and I take the time to listen to what's going on in some instrumentalists or whatever, something that is happening. And so I don't have the 100% of my time to dedicate to that, which is fine. It's
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
do what I can, but that's what really inspires me more, and
Mhm.
so, and then people that is new, like going back to what inspired me. What's the name of the kid that you mentioned?
Jacob
Jacob.
Collier. I know. I know. It's like, what? That's incredible. And there's several people out like that. Michael Mayo is another.
Yes.
Yes, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's technology or what, but they are able to put it off. And it's just like amazing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And the other thing that I also listen to a lot is Christian music, of course. And it's just Christian pop is so funny because they might have this, the sounds alikes, like they have some artists, but for some reason they're even better. Like, oh, this sounds like a right, like a John Mayer, but Christian version of it, but even a little better because musically as a songwriter, I have a period, and I still love writing songs. It's just that to make it commercial, you have to have that formula, and it's just complicated, and I
Yeah.
guess too much work.
I know.
Like I said, I do a little bit of
like that.
everything, and maybe I'm half-assing, but I don't care. And I don't care. I was told by a marketing guy about 5 years ago, well, why don't you just take all these videos down from YouTube, forget about it, and just let's concentrate on the Latin jazz. And I'm like, no, I want my friends to see me doing that too. Whatever. So yeah, as far as songwriting and song arranging, some of these Christians are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally have met some that are Dove winners. Dove is the award for the Christians, and they're like pretty amazing composers and arrangers, songwriters.
I was turned on to. I hadn't heard John Baptiste, the guy who wrote for Soul.
Yeah.
Wow, I love him. He's kind of like a more tangible Prince or something. He's so good. I just it's totally Dan, my friend Dan Davila. He's always giving me new artists to check out and stuff.
What do you think about the movie?
I haven't seen it yet, but here it is, because Dan gave this to me.
It's lovely. I love it. But it has a turn that I wasn't expecting.
Oh, okay. Don't tell me.
No, I won't tell you. I won't tell you. But the music is fantastic. Yeah.
Hey, let's speaking of different stuff, let's watch you play My Romance.
Oh, that standard I love so much.
Yeah, that's not it. Let's see, where is it? Here we go.
That's me, and blue lagoon, standing by, no man, oh me, no complete stars, no high, no short guitars, my romance, that's me, the castle, rise, shield, spade, roll it down, roll it constantly, surprising, afraid, wide awake, I can make my voice fantastic dreams come true. Nothing else does me much true.
Oh man, that was just beautiful.
Oh,
That was beautiful. What a great band, huh?
yes, that Queen Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah. And this is like about what, 10 years ago or more, right? So when beautiful Spacios, we had the jazz clubs going on, right?
Yeah.
Have anymore, but playing at Spacios, I was kind of a regular
Oh,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
So Jimmy Brownlee was new in town. Well, he
Gorgeous.
was like in LA for about 5 years from
Yeah.
Cuba, maybe less. And I was so honored to have him. And then John Bell's a guy, right, on bass.
Yeah, that was a great, beautiful band, boy. And
I
you
I was so
sounded
lucky to perform with so
great.
many people.
You really sounded great there.
Thank you.
Um, and
Yeah.
Dory said something here.
Dorito.
He said, don't discount your contribution to putting out good music. That tribute to Chick Corea in Spanish will be a killer. Looking forward to finishing it with the orchestra.
Right. We did a Spain version in Spanish, but it's all arranged by him. He's a genius. Thank you, Dory. I love you. Toda, toda.
That's going to be fabulous. I'm looking forward to that myself.
Yeah, when Chick passed away, we had that done a while back, but we decided we should finish that. So yeah, and so yeah, real quickly, the transition between Ana Robles, which was the 2000s, and then to Anita, like I told you before, it was because there was another Ana Robles in Argentina.
Yeah.
You can check her music. She's folk music from my country.
Oh, okay.
We had a fight for a couple of years about the name, but then I decided to go by Anita because Anita is what my mother called me, so that's fine. So yeah.
And Roland wants to know if you're friends with Karina Corradini.
Yeah, I don't see her often though. I don't know what she's doing these days, but yeah.
Another Argentinian. Well, I know you have to go soon.
Show, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I know you have to go soon.
Yeah, I have to go early. But where was Karina in your show? Did you have that in your show?
No. Roland just asked, and yeah, I guess she's from Argentina as well, right?
Yeah, and she sings really great Brazilian and Latin music too. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out for 2 hours.
Thank you. This is you've done 280 of this. Are you nuts? Oh my God.
You're 284 maybe.
Oh my God, this is awesome. Thank you. What a wonderful, always you.
Thank you.
Contribution. And if you haven't seen Cathy in her open mics, I'm sure you do. You're Cathy fan club over here, but still, what a great contribution to LA musicians and singers you've done through the years.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you for having me, and more will be revealed. We keep, the clubs are starting to open, so hopefully we're doing more stuff. And I did some very improvised Facebook Live performances for my birthday, and Dory played with me, and Aron Serfati played with me. The last one, reminiscence since 1990 was our first gig here.
Wow.
So not 1991. So yeah, 30 years ago. And I was so scared. And, my Brazilian, my Portuguese has an accent. And I'm always thinking that it's not good for, the Brazilians. And I don't know if it was Amoedo, one of those amazing Brazilian musicians is in the audience when I'm singing. I'm like, oh. And so at the beginning,
they seem very forgiving about that. I think they just appreciate that you try,
Yes. So from those days of being scared to now, which I don't care. You can see my birthday shows, like I'm running around and getting the balloons and, not really being professional, but they were laughing so much. Aron Serfati is my brother, such an amazing musician. And also we had so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's forgetting lyrics and forgetting the chords of my guitar. And he's like,
yeah.
You
He's going
know,
to play, so June, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, June 5th, I'll do it'll be a jam session, but I'll also sing a little bit of a set. And then, so it'll be David Arnay on piano and John Leftwich on bass and
nice,
Aron on
nice.
drums. And
I'll be there.
it's really fun. The conference room, for those of you in LA, the conference room in Playa Vista, it's really nice. And make reservations because the tables are, limited.
Yeah, beautiful outdoor patio.
Yeah,
Very,
it's really nice. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Anita Robles, as your name says. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Very
Thank
beautiful.
you, Cathy, and thank you all that had time to watch a little bit or put a comment in there. And stay tuned for more adventures.
Yeah. In fact, if you want to go, because I know you have to run, I'm going to just tell people who's on next and all that stuff.
Well, okay, guys. Yeah, and you can always go to YouTube and look for more of the videos there, right?
Yeah.
Anita, just go to Anita, and
Anita.
and I will be. I'm gonna put my little picture here while I'm getting ready to leave. But I like to hear what you're saying, so I'm gonna
Okay.
mute myself and.
Bye. You muted yourself, but that's okay. So Monday through Wednesday, these days I have live interviews. And then Thursday through Sundays, I have interviews from the archives, which is fabulous, because there's so many people. So, and by the way, the 284 are live, just so you know. Anyway, Thursday, I'm having a wonderful singer from, gosh, I haven't thought of it so long. It's not Greece. It's another island near there. Anyway, she lives over there. She's world renowned and she's a really wonderful, beautiful person. Her name is Alexia Vasiliou, and we met here actually. And we were immediately drawn to each other. She's just a sister of mine. And then Friday, the wonderful drummer who played with Bill Evans, amongst other people, Joe LaBarbera. He's kind of the quintessential eloquent drummer. Saturday, the 29th, I like to introduce him as the raconteur, guitarist Bruce Forman, fantastic guitarist and quite humorous. And then Sunday, the 30th, piano player who lived here for a long time, but then a long time ago moved to Florida. He was at USC. He moved to Florida and became the dean of the Frost Music School, Shelley Berg. So that's really fun. That's Sunday. And I'll just tell you the live people next week. So I was introduced to this couple on there was a online party that Jocelyn Medina had. She's a singer and educator on the she was on the East Coast. She moved to Colorado, but she had an anniversary celebration of a jam that she had been doing for many years, a weekly jam. And this incredibly talented couple, a singer, it would be a couple that in LA you would see at the Blue Whale, kind of modern and on the younger side and just beautiful. They're Polish, and they've lived in New York for a while. Her name is Bagna Kichinska, and her husband is Jacob Kichotchki. I'm not sure how to pronounce the names. I'm sure I'll get an education on that. But her husband, this is when I know somebody's great. The first moment they put their hands on their instrument and you hear the first touch and the first chord and you're thrilled, that's how you know. That's how you know it's a great musician. And then they go on to prove it. He's really beautiful. And she has everything. She has, the young singers coming up, for whatever reason, they have a lot of competency of scales and accuracy of singing. She has that, but she has heart. And they did this piece on this show that was astounding. It was really beautiful. I I believe it had no lyrics. I think it was a vocalese, and it was quite long, and almost in between classical and jazz. It was really beautiful. Her intonation was beautiful, and her voice quality beautiful. Very sweet woman. So they're going to be on Monday, and then a very incredible and entertaining person, Hakan Graf. He's a pianist, and he lives in California now, but he's lived all over the world and played with big names in the past. So that's Hakan. And then Wednesday, also a singer I was introduced to this year from New York. Some of you might know of her already, but Gabrielle Stravelli, and she's extremely talented, very talented, a lot of long career of singing jazz. So that's what's happening. And thanks for putting up with my new computer actions. I'm sure I'll get better, but for right now, I'm just kind of going, oh, that's new. I think it's mostly the new operating system, right? Cypress, yes, I think it is Cypress, Joyce. Thank you, and thanks for the congratulations. And yeah, I'm just looking at the last bits of. Thank you. Oh, good. Joyce knows Gabrielle. Yeah, she's really terrific. So I look forward to, a lot of wonderful things. And those of you living in LA, I might have another gig that's opening up for various people. I'm actually going to have an appointment today, later, to speak to a restaurateur who is interested in adding more jazz. So keep tuned. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, goodbye. To see who else is going to be on, you can always go to my website, CathySegal-Garcia.com. And also, you will be able to see the archive link, which goes to a Dropbox link, which has all the 284 people interviewed there. And you can either just watch there for an hour, or you can download it and you'll see the whole 2 hours. But there's lots of wonderful people. Okay, bye.